Welcome to Package and Task Transactions. Now in this video I want to talk about, first of all, transactions. And if you've been around databases very long, you know that most relational databases and relational database management systems, RDBMS, perform operations in atomic units. Now by that I mean that we can put multiple steps, multiple statements in a group together, and all of those actions are successful or all of those actions fail. It's a one for all and all for one. And this single unit of work is called a transaction. Now transaction support is built into SSIS, and what I want to do, this by the way is going to be part one, no doubt. I'm going to jump out into SQL Data Tools and show you how to build transaction support into your packages. Now in SSIS it's at the package level or at any control flow container level, and so I'm going to show you a container example, and you can also provide transaction support down at the task level as well. Now here's the thing you got to watch for. MS-DTC service must be started for transactions to work. If the service is not started, you'll get an error message when you try to do any kind of transactional activity. That MS-DTC, by the way, is the Microsoft Distributed Transaction Coordinator. This is a service that runs on your machine. It's probably started already, but if not, you can go out and take a look at it. I'll show you that in just a moment as well. Now, transactions are enabled using a property of any task or container, and that property is the transaction option property. And you're going to set a value on that. If you set it to required, then that means that if a transaction exists, join it. If not, then start your own new transaction for this process. A value on the transaction option of supported means that if a transaction exists, join it. If there's not one, then don't worry about it. Don't start one. And then not supported means don't join an existing transaction, don't start a transaction, none of that stuff, just work without it, okay? What we're going to do, let's jump out into SQL Data Tools and take a look at building a transaction. So here we are in SQL Data Tools, and you'll notice I've done a little bit of work here to try to speed this process up just a little bit, okay? Notice I put a connection manager used of AdventureWorks DW 2012, and what I'm going to do is execute a couple of SQL tasks. And I'm going to execute one that will work, and then I'm going to generate an error with the second one so that we can kick it out and show you the fact that things are being rolled back. First of all, let me go out and show you what I've done in the database so that you'll know what you're looking at when you see it. Notice I am going to use the married employees table that we created a little bit earlier in a video called Understanding Expressions. We used a condition split to create these two tables, and so if you don't have this, go watch the videos Understanding Expressions Part 1 and 2, and you can step through that with me and create this, or you can build your own example. First of all, notice I'm in the AdventureWorks DW 2012 database. Notice, by the way, I'm in SQL Server Management Studio now. I am going to do a select and get all the columns from the DBO married employees, okay? So I'll show you that, and as you can see, there's quite a few rows here. My database administrator would really get after me for executing these kinds of queries, but notice there's 10,011 rows, all right? But if I select the ones where the last name is like AL, and then notice this little percentage sign right here is a wildcard in Transact SQL, so I want to select everything where the last name starts with AL, and then I'll execute. And you can see that there's Alvarez, Alexander, another Alvarez, Alexander. And, you know, I could actually order by last name and execute this again, and it would be a little easier to read. There's last name Allen, Alexander. So we got a bunch of them in here. And notice there's 215 of these, okay? And so what I want to do is I am going to execute a query to delete these, all right? And so I'm going to copy this right now. Again, remember there were 10,011 rows when we selected everything. And so what I'm going to do now is let's jump back over to SQL Data Tools, and I am going to go to this Execute SQL task right here. And notice on Connection, I'm going to choose AdventureWorks DW 2012. Then my SQL statement, I'm going to click the little ellipsis here and paste in what I just created, okay? Except that I'm going to change the select asterisk to delete from DBO married employees where last name is like AL. Then I've got the wildcard character. Okay, so I will close that, and then I will turn bypass prepare off by double clicking it. Notice it went to false, and now I can parse the query and see if it has a problem with what I've written. And so at least syntactically I'm correct, and then I will say OK. So if I run this is going to delete everybody that starts with AL. And then what I'm going to do on this one, I'm going to get the same connection to AdventureWorks, and I'm going to put a SQL statement that I know will fail. I'll select asterisk from dim.customers. Okay, and so it won't find that table. It will fail, and we should be cooking. All right, so I'll click OK. Now what I'm going to do is stop right here. This will be the end of part 1. Come back and join me in part 2, and we'll make this a transaction and test it.